It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
What? Yeah. Hey, pretty babies, what is going on? You're checking out an all-new The RCWR Show. 401mania.com reporter and columnist Lee Sanders here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this Wednesday night of March 23rd. 2022 Hump Day. Hump Day is here. We are almost there as far as the weekend goes. Just for those of you, if you're kind of like me, just hang on, hold on. It's coming. It is coming. But look, at least we got to do it in style. AEW Dynamite went off the air just a couple of minutes ago. Was it me? Maybe it's a case where I don't know. Maybe my devices and all that might have been a minute or two off, but it felt as though Dynamite tonight went just a tiny bit over, maybe by about a minute or two. If I'm wrong, y'all let me know, but it really felt as though we definitely were going into a little OT there, which is a rare first, honestly, because I made sure that I was watching in real time because I have the option. I got YouTube TV, so I don't know how you guys operate, but normally when I'm watching live events, I'm able to watch live events in real time and everything, you know, just like regular cable, satellite cable TV providers, basically. And it was really weird because, you know, if you have YouTube TV, you can join a show that's live already in progress, or you can start from the beginning. So I definitely was watching live in progress, and it just seemed as though tonight Dynamite went off a minute or two later. So sound off, let me know. I might be wrong about that, but y'all definitely let me know. But a nice, well-rounded show that they did for this week. As far as I was concerned, I thought they did pretty good for the most part. So look, we got a nice solid show for y'all tonight. We're pretty much just going to be talking majority AEW, almost all things AEW. We'll sprinkle in a couple of little tidbits in there. I definitely am looking forward to talking about some comments Undertaker made about the current WWE roster. If anything, the dead man has doubled down on some comments that he made from several weeks ago, a couple of months ago. We'll dive into that in a little bit, but yeah, we got a well-rounded show for you guys when it's all still when it's all said and done. I just got a little bit of, it's not breaking news, but it is news. I don't know how many of you guys are aware of this. And shout out to the wifey. Wifey just tagged me on my Facebook. Apparently, Fozzy, I don't know how many of you guys are aware of this, but Fozzy, Chris Jericho's band, as y'all know, they have a new single that's out. Apparently, this new single was released just about 3 days ago. And the name of this single is titled I Still Burn, and it's streaming right now on all platforms. So y'all may want to check that out. I will definitely check it out. This weekend, I'm going to be kicking back, and I'm actually going to be checking out some new tunes. And don't be surprised if on the YouTube channel we do a couple of uploads, because it's been a good minute. And I think that I will most likely check out this single and review it. The other joint that I want to check out, I don't know how many of you guys were fans of A Tribe Called Quest, but Phife Dawg, his sophomore album, Posthumous sophomore album, was just released. And Rolling Stone did a fantastic article talking about this album. They didn't review it. They just basically gave you the background on how this album came together and everything. The name of the album is titled Forever, and it's a follow-up from 2000's Ventilation, the LP that Phife Dawg put out, again, way back when. And when this sophomore album, Forever, dropped, it dropped on the 6-year anniversary of his passing. So it just dropped just a couple of days ago, this week, as a matter of fact. It just dropped. And what makes this album very interesting is that by the time family, friends, associates were able to get a hold of what he had left behind, this album was 2/3 complete. He left so many notes. There's a lot of information in his notepads. He left a lot of ideas. He left even specific information about, okay, for this track, I'm picturing it's executed like this. I think if we were to maybe bring in this artist, or this producer. And so they basically worked very diligently to fulfill his dream. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those type of Posthumous albums where you just go, wow, okay, if that doesn't kind of whet your appetite a little bit and out of curiosity, I don't know what will. So I'll definitely be checking that album out over the weekend and definitely give that a proper review. I think Method Man even dropped a new track as well most recently. I just got to do a double take sometimes and go, what year is this again? Because all of my favorites are just coming out with some great tunes left and right, man. And I'm seriously loving it when it's all said and done. So AEW Dynamite for this week. Solid episode that they put out for this week. As I was feeling this. I got to tell you, off the break, if there's one main takeaway I got for this week's Dynamite, how about that CM Punk taking on Dax Hardwood match? That was a fantastic one-on-one matchup. I mean, first, we got CM Punk coming out, and it was great to see him again. Seriously, it was. Yeah, for those of you that might have been a little bit curious what was going on with CM Punk, how come we hadn't seen him the past couple of weeks, that's because he's been off on assignment filming scenes for the upcoming season of Starz hit series. What is it? God, I can't even think of the name of the show. Heels. I know it's a simple wrestling term. Heels. He's been filming that. So I'm not really sure if he's done all his respected scenes for the season or what, but it was definitely great to see him back. You see that he's in-ring gear. You're going, okay, all right. Who's he going to face? What exactly is going on right here? And then we get the music of FTR. You're going, oh, snap, FTR? Okay, which one? Like, either way, it's going to be a good match, but you're wondering, you know, which one is it going to be? And turns out it was Dax Hardwood. So, instant banger of a classic. Look, this might have been so goddamn random, but you know what, man? I am all in for it. I am all in for it. Good Lord. Look, y'all may say I'm showing a little bit of favoritism because, you know, after all, I'm a Punk fan, but I'd like to believe that I have been critical of Punk where it counted most and everything. But, yeah, I saw this. I'm going, all right, well, if these two are facing each other, this should be a banger classic. But it really exceeded my expectations as far as I was concerned. These boys went about 13, 14 minutes. And I tell you what, this was just all around good shit. Good shit. Yeah, I'm telling you, for any aspiring wrestler, you just would have had to look at this match tonight and what these guys did as a blueprint. That's something you just want to, yeah, I'm not saying you got to wrestle like these guys, but if you're trying to make sure that your psychology is on point when you're in that ring and you're trying to tell a really good story and have that crowd in the palm of your hands, what these two guys did tonight is definitely something you can watch over and over and over again, especially when you're looking at the final couple of minutes of that match. All around entertaining, good shit. I really had appreciated what those guys did tonight. I really did. Dax Hardwood losing to CM Punk via submission too from the Anaconda Vice, tapping out there. Not for nothing, but we had the Gun Club sons. They were out there at ringside, and they were doing a little bit of heckling. They were doing some heckling there to CM Punk, but they mainly were heckling the hell out of Dax Hardwood. And as a result of that heckling, we saw that coming up on, I believe, I'll talk about it a little bit later on during the show, but I believe for next week's Dynamite, it's going to be FTR taking on the Gun Club. But I would definitely say if you happen to have Dynamite on the DVR of all the matches that you need to go out of your way and check out, make sure you don't fast forward. I actually would highly recommend you check out the opener between CM Punk and Dax Hardwood. It's matches like that, especially me being an old school wrestling fan, and I know how much of a old school fan CM Punk, definitely Dax Hardwood is. You just, at the end of the day, you appreciate good matches like what they put out there tonight. You really do. Nice, good throwback feel. Good shit all the way around. Next up, from there we go to a tag match where it was a 8-man tornado tag match as Sting, Darby Allin, and the Hardys teamed up to face the Butcher, the Blade, and Private Party. We got informed that there are no DQs, no tags in this one. Yeah, you heard me right. We're informed that there are no DQs, no tags, because this is, after all, an 8-man tornado tag. So everybody is just pretty much, you got your balls to the walls, right? We're just pretty much going out all crazy here. This was about 9 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, and some change at most. Look, I appreciated all the names that were involved in this tornado tag match. It was definitely a fun match. I will give it that. It played out just a little bit more than how I envisioned that it was going to go out and everything. Jeff Hardy had a couple of nice spots and everything, but I don't know. It wasn't really that banger good. You know, it really wasn't that banger good. You mainly were sitting through this match watching it for the names. That's what this was really all about. You really were watching it just for the names. I think a lot of people had caught this particular spot as well, because it was kind of a little bit funny. If you had a set of keen eyes, you would have noticed this. But you had a spot that involved Sting. For those of you that haven't watched Dynamite yet, I won't put too much out there, but you'll know it when you see it. But there's this spot that goes down with Sting, and then you're saying to yourself, how the hell was he able to get back to the ring so goddamn fast? We did a little bit of pre-recording there. We got a little bit of a tape delay. What the hell going on here? You'll know the spot when you see it. You'll know the spot when you see it. Meanwhile, going back to Dax and Cash, they're chatting it up backstage. They're talking about wrestling from the heart. Gun Club, they pop up. They talk about how they don't want to be grandfathered in. Or rather, Dax and Hardwood mention how the Ass Boys do not want to be grandfathered in, that they're still puppies. They're still wet in their bed. And Dax pretty much understands that there is a portion of the audience that doesn't like them, but they're not spoiled brats. And this all just pretty much sets up what we just told you a few seconds ago, how they're going to be facing each other on next week's Dynamite. From there, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson got some more tag team action right here. They teamed up to face the Varsity Blondes. This was about, if you were lucky, maybe 5 minutes at most. What really hurt this match, I personally feel, was the fact that we had a commercial break sandwiched in here. And I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I'm not a fan of matches that are that short and we happen to put in a commercial break. Not a fan of that whatsoever. Not a fan of that whatsoever, because by the time you get back, look, you can hit me up with that whole picture-in-picture mumbo jumbo crap. You can hit me with that all you want. I still feel that even when you do a picture-in-picture thingamajigger, it still takes away. So, it really depends on how you personally feel, right? Of course, we all can agree. When you just say, hey, we're coming right back, and you pretty much don't do a picture-in-picture, and you come back to the action, and then match is pretty much on for an additional 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then it's over. I mean, that's a waste of freaking time when it's all said and done. I really wish what would start happening is when you get these short type of matches, just go ahead, show the match in its entirety, and then you go on ahead and take a commercial break. Even if you got to transition into maybe Sammy Guevara being out there holding out some signs and he's doing his usual shtick. I mean, I'm definitely down with that. But yeah, that was serious buzzkill, what they did there, sandwiching that in there. But, for all intents and purposes, this was, for me personally, this was kind of a squash match, if you will. A little bit of offense from the Varsity Blondes, just a little bit there, but a nice little glorified squash match for all intents and purposes. Post-match, William Regal, he joins his guys in the ring, grabs a microphone, talks about how he is very lucky and is a blessed man, that he's been fortunate enough to compete against the very best in the world in his respected tenure as a wrestler. He learned from the best, but there's only one man whose opinion he's ever cared about, and that's actually William Regal. He talks about how he earned the badge of honor from Regal. Actually, I'm trying to think who was saying this to Regal right here. I think this might have been Danielson that was mentioning this, saying all this to Regal and all that. But Regal talked about how he wears that Blackpool badge of honor with pride, just like his friend, the perfect wrestler, Bryan Danielson. They were forged in combat. He tells them to step up before they get stepped on. Not his guys, but he's pretty much doubling down on what he had said from the previous week, which was anybody that wants some, come get some, or step up, try your shot, try your very best. But that was a nice good little thing right there with William Regal, pretty much regurgitating the same thing, but being more on point and being, I'll give him this. I know he was pretty hard on that promo from, was it last week or the week before? Sometimes my weeks get a little bit mixed up, but where he was just going on and on and on, and he was being a little bit long-winded there. I'll give him credit for this week. He was definitely, all right, all my points, boom, boom, boom. What's next? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we're done. So I'll definitely give him that. MJF comes out next. MJF is surrounded by security, and Sean Spears is by his side. He is firing off at the mouth about Wardlow. Talks about how it's a shame he doesn't get the job, how he didn't get the job done last week as far as Wardlow's match against Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship. Unlike Wardlow, MJF feels he is a man of his word. He wants to talk to Punk. Everybody knows it. He had Punk beat at Revolution as far as he was concerned, just like he beat him up twice in Chicago. What did Punk do? As far as he's concerned, Punk cheated to win. And MJF wanted to be clear, there will be another match between himself and CM Punk. And when it all does go down, he will give Punk the most embarrassing loss out of his entire career. Some pretty bold statements right there, because you're going, okay, entire career. So we're talking about ROH. We're talking about WWE. We're just covering all bases. You are, without a shadow of doubt, going to deliver the worst and embarrassing defeat in this guy's career. Okay, some pretty bold statements right there. But then even at that, MJF said, even then, it won't be over between him and CM Punk, that it'll never be over. Only when MJF attends CM Punk's funeral and is able to piss on his grave will it finally be over. Now, as far as Wardlow goes, back to Wardlow. He starts calling Wardlow Pig. Yes, Wardlow Pig, because that's what he is. He is a greedy little pig as far as MJF is concerned. Talks about when he first met Wardlow less than 3 years ago. Those people chanting his name wouldn't know who the hell he was. Wardlow didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Now he's got a nice roof over his head. He's able to provide for his family. And this is all courtesy of MJF. And how does Wardlow repay MJF? By costing him the most important match in his life. Wardlow signed a deal with the devil, and all the devil's deals are ironclad. Love this little reference to the devil MJF did in himself right there. Talks about, hey, you thought you had it bad before Wardlow. MJF promises he's going to make Wardlow's life a living hell. He will ask how high when MJF tells him to jump. Yes, yes, yes. And believe it or not, there was actually a Jesus chant at this point. These fans, man, these fans are slick as hell, man. Sometimes they can be a little savvy, but yeah, they actually started chanting Jesus. I was loving that. And MJF tells the crowd that he'll nail Wardlow to a cross just like Jesus. So capitalizing, they fed him, and that, I'm telling you, when it comes to guys that are thinking on the spot, when they just gotta go with the flow, MJF is king of it. He is absolutely king of it. I know we got a lot of people that are toying with the idea of, hey, he'd be pretty good in the WWE. Oh, man, he'd be able to go to the heights of, here's the thing. Everything that you're seeing with MJF right now, you got to make sure that you understand what's happening with MJF and AEW. They ain't got to worry about Susan G. Komen Foundation. They don't have to worry about Mattel. They don't have to worry about Salvation Army, March of Dimes. They don't have to worry about any of those sponsors, those corporate companies that WWE has to answer to. So y'all may want to pump the brakes, wishing and hoping that MJF goes to WWE, because it ain't going to be the same. I hate to burst y'all's bubble, but y'all come to me for honesty, right? Keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. That's the show creed, right? Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, I know, but that's the truth when you really take a step back and you think about it. But anyway, see what else Wardlow said from there. Wardlow, wow, MJF tells Wardlow that he owns him, calls his mother a skank. Yeah. I mean, this was hardcore. This was some hardcore stuff right here that MJF was spitting out, but it was that good fire that MJF was spitting out right here. He tells Wardlow he does not work for AEW, that he still works for him, and MJF doesn't want him anymore. And as far as he's concerned, Wardlow is trespassing. He tells this greedy little pig that he'll keep paying Wardlow, but he's paying him to stay home until all these people forget that he existed, until he winds up an absolute nobody. And he ends it by saying, enjoy your fun in the mud, little piggy. So that pretty much is it for Wardlow here. MJF did mention a couple of other things. He wanted to squash some rumors as far as what's going on with the Pinnacle. He says that the Pinnacle is not over. Starting next week, they're going to move up around here. So you kind of, what exactly does that mean with the Pinnacle here? Where exactly are we going with that? Well, you know, what does happen with the Pinnacle? Because, I mean, right now, Pinnacle, they're tied up, or they're going to be tied up next week with Gun Club, Shawn Spears, MJF. Well, they never said anything about they were done with Pinnacle. So, you know, what exactly is going to go down here? I'm going to tell you, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if something were to happen along the lines of a new member or two gets put into the Pinnacle. As far as what members I'm picturing, that I could not tell you just yet. I mean, for me personally, I think what you have as far as members of the Pinnacle is just fine. I don't really think you need to add any more. But if you wanted to maybe add a new person to the mix, I could definitely see that being entertained. Definitely. But Pinnacle getting back to basics, I'd be okay with that. I would honestly be okay with that. But the only thing is, you got to be, if it was me personally, I would have this Pinnacle thing go down in such a way where probably the only person that is willing to step up and take the Pinnacle on head on is a guy like Wardlow. So you got to spin this, I feel, in just a way where Pinnacle is just running roughshod. And you got to also do it in a way where you're keeping in mind what MJF had to say about Wardlow and everything. You got to let enough weeks go by where ultimately when Wardlow does return, maybe it's revealed then that Tony Khan went on ahead, gave him an AEW contract, and that he's no longer, right? He's no longer sitting on the sidelines. Remember what MJF said. Hey, your services are no longer needed. At this point, I'm paying you to stay your ass at home. You even try to pop up, you're going to be dealing with some serious legal consequences because as of right now, you're trespassing. But music to Tony Khan's ears gives the man an AEW contract. Okay, he's back into the whole mix of things. Now, you may be saying, okay, so who could possibly be allies there for Wardlow after everything that Wardlow has done? who could potentially put the differences to the side and work with Wardlow. CM Punk, without a shadow of doubt. Definitely CM Punk, for God's sake. We just talked about Dax Hardwood and CM Punk a couple of minutes ago. So, and plus the history there, Punk understands what was going on there with Wardlow. You follow the storyline. So, CM Punk, Wardlow, I can see that going down. You still don't quite have enough numbers in your favor. Do you maybe go with Sting and Darby Allin? Do you maybe revisit that again? Because if you were to revisit that again, see, it's a little, I think you could do it, but you'd be double dipping, because we also got to remember that Darby Allin, he's got some type of unresolved issue, tension. There's some type of beef that he has with Jeff Hardy. So, unless you're going to double dip there with Darby and let him also serve in Wardlow's quest to stick it to the pinnacle, right? Just kind of putting that to the side. If you didn't go in the Darby Allin Sting direction, what might be another direction you could potentially go? Yeah, I'm having a hard time picturing what other guys you could put in there. I mean, those seem to be the obvious guys for right now. I'll tell you what, let me marinate on it a little bit more. And at this point, you guys can throw some names out there, but don't throw names just to be throwing names out there. Just actually think about, okay, who really isn't being properly utilized for starters? Maybe we haven't seen them on TV in a good minute, and it would be a perfect transition for them to get paired up with Wardlow and ultimately sticking it to the pinnacle. So you got to think like that. You definitely got to think like that. Meanwhile, Adam Cole taking on Jay Lethal. Now, you know what? I wish this would have went an extra couple of minutes, but for what it was worth, this was actually damn good. This was actually damn good. You know, we hadn't seen Jay Lethal, and it's funny, too, because I remember we were right here on this show a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about, hey, where the hell is Jay Lethal? Jay Lethal makes his little debut after signing the contract. Next thing you know, we pretty much never see the guy again after like 2-3 weeks, and he just disappeared. It's on to the next signee. And if you're not watching AEW Dark or Dark Elevation, then you don't know what the heck's been going on with Jay Lethal over there. But this match pretty much had came about because, see, here's the thing, and I'm not really a fan of this, but I think it's just utterly stupid and ridiculous that when it comes to these AEW Dark and Elevation shows, you know, we got these people that are just racking up W's like Goldberg. And so by the time you see them on TNT or TBS, they're 30-3. And you're going, wow, that's pretty fucking impressive. And yet we only saw them on TBS or TNT like one fucking time. If they're fucking that goddamn good, why the hell aren't we seeing them on these networks more on a consistent basis? What's going on here, right? And so by the time you see these, this is the bad pattern that AEW continues to have, unfortunately, which is by the time you see these people, some good names, mind you, some of them are good names, but we see the history here. They pretty much, they like loading those stats up, right? They like loading up those win-loss records so that by the time you get them on TNT or TBS, it's inflated. The numbers are really inflated when it's all said and done, especially when you just go over, okay, so who exactly did this person face? Okay, they did all these matches on Dark and Elevation, but who is it that this person kept facing? Oh, okay, all you kept facing was John Silver and Sonny Kiss. That's pretty much it. And like every single time you locked up with them, it was a freaking win. Like, seriously, right? And that's how you really got to stop and think about it. Because if you really, don't take my word for it, but when you really just kick back and you scrutinize the hell out of who all these people are beating on Dark and Elevation to get to a conclusion of, oh, okay, wow, why are they 30-3? Or, well, why are they undefeated and they've got 80 wins right now? It's like you really start finding out the hard way of, well, this is the reason why. So, for instance, this week, we're told that Jay Lethal is pretty much the number 3 contender, and you're going, wait, huh? How? How does this make any sense? In what universe? We haven't seen him on TBS and TNT in weeks. What's going on here? The YouTube shows, he's winning on the YouTube shows, so he's now ranked number 3. And you're going, whatever, dude. Okay, sure, whatever. Adam Cole, you're hearing that he's the number 2 contender or whatever, number 4, whatever the hell his rank is. And that's why we're getting this match. Quite honestly, I think this whole ranking system, we just need to be over and done with it already. I just think it's freaking silly. Especially when you look at the opponents, just everything that I mentioned before. I think it's silly. And we just need to be... I could appreciate the record or records more if it was a case of, okay, you know what? This person, we're going to work on bumping their stats up a little bit. We're going to work on bumping up their win-loss record. All right, cool. Let's also make sure that we're putting them on TNT and TBS programming. We got to also make sure that we're doing that. I mean, look, anybody that you think is good enough to say, oh, they're a number 3 contender, they're a number 4 contender. Okay, well, then you definitely need to start at least having them pop up more on your Rampage show. There's enough. There's enough. Whoever is catching your eye from the YouTube shows, there's enough swag. There's enough of a, hey, let's toss this person a bone. I mean, you can always keep... That's a beautiful part I like about watching Rampage on Fridays, covering it live and reviewing it, is the fact that when you're watching Rampage, you get weeks where, okay, we're going with this team, okay? And then you could tune in the very next week, and it could almost be a completely different, okay, we're going to rotate these guys out, and we're going to focus on these guys. Maybe you got one continuation of a story from the previous Rampage or whatever, but I love how they're able to do that. So you got to start doing more stuff like that, at least, just to try to make, oh, well, this person is blah, blah, blah. Nah, you got to try to balance it out. That's all I'm saying. But great match. Goddamn great match. Instant classic between Adam Cole and Jay Lethal. I love the finish, by the way. That finish was insane. Jay Lethal was looking for the lethal injection, but Cole, the way he was able to beautifully fucking counter that with a super kick to the back of Jay Lethal's head, and then going up to the top rope, setting up Lethal for the Panama Sunrise. 1, 2, Lethal kicks out. Cole just saying, okay, you know what, bump this. He goes for the boom. Jay manages to duck it. Gets a roll up. Referee gets distracted in the process. Lethal tries to go for the lethal injection again. But Cole, that was the most beautiful sequence I've ever seen. Because as soon as Jay Lethal came off the ropes and he was looking for that lethal injection, right on cue. That needs to be part of the new Rampage montage intro, as far as I'm concerned. As soon as he bounced off the ropes looking for the lethal injection, Adam Cole just instant low blowed his ass. And then the next thing you know, he does a running knee to the back of the head. 1, 2, 3. Match was over. Love this. Love this. This was a banger of a classic. Leave it to 2 Ring of Honor alumni to bring us home a classic right here. Good shit. Post-match, Cole gets on the microphone, chilling in the corner, talks about how there's no one on the planet who deserves the AEW world title more than him. As far as he's concerned, at Revolution, Hangman Adam Page stole the victory. 2 out of the last 3 matches they've had. As far as he's concerned, he's won. Last week, he talks about when he was pinning Jungle Boy and staring at Paige, he saw fear because he knows he's looking at the man he will take his world championship from, basically. And from there, you know, he pretty much challenges the AEW champion. Yo, you don't have the balls to come out here and face me like a man. You don't have the balls to come out here and face me in this ring as I'm right here alongside Red Dragon. Well, sure enough, Hangman Adam Page did come out like a bolt of lightning. I mean, he was power walking his way into that ring, championship and all. And he brought the fight to Adam Cole and to Red Dragon for a hot little bit, but the numbers game ultimately got on him. A little bit of dirty fighting too, dirty tactics used there from the Hangman there, as they pretty much did a 3-on-1 beatdown. Cole grabs the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, stares at it, and then walks over to Paige. But wait, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, they come in there for the save. Christian is with them as well, and everybody pretty much clears the ring, and that pretty much was the end of it. We come back. Sammy Guevara and Taya Conti are in the ring. Yeah. So look, this was weird because something weird happened with my TV at this point. Like all throughout the night. I don't know if it was happening for you guys, but for me, my TV was going black screen a few times. No problems with the TV. The TV is still brand new. I don't even think I've had the TV. I bought the TV brand new. I don't even think I've had the TV a year and a half yet, or even a year and a half yet. And just to make sure that it wasn't just a TV issue, I would flip to another channel. No issues whatsoever. So this lets me know that there was some type of maybe technical difficulties on TNT's part, but I got a black screen. But then when we come back, for whatever respected reason, the fans are chanting "Holy shit!" I don't know what the hell that was about, but they were chanting "Holy shit!" So this was pretty much, you kind of got the gist of it. They're following up on what had went down with the beatdown they took at the hands of Paige Van Zant, and I'm trying to think who was the other person. I guess it was Scorpio Sky. I'm trying. Last week I can't really remember because it's kind of a blur now and all that. But Dan Lambert, he comes out, and he had some funny little one-liners that was in there. He talks about how. Let me see if I can pull up my notes here. Let's see. Bear with me a second. Let me see. Paige Van Zant, the biggest signing in history, who doesn't need to appear in shit-stained towns like Austin. Yeah. He then says Paige is the reason Orange keeps his hands in his pocket all day. Yeah, there was a nice little OnlyFans reference there, paying the $9.99 and just kind of pretty much being disappointed there for whatever respective reason, looking at the content. He then brings up Scorpio Sky, saying he hasn't lost a match since Tony Khan reached puberty. And then on their side, Tiny Tim and his girlfriend. So Tiny Tim, Sammy Guevara, his girlfriend. Actually, no, Tiny Tim. Yeah, I think Tiny Tim was in reference to either Sammy Guevara, and then if not, it was in reference to Jungle Boy, because the next thing you know, Dan Lambert came out and said Lucha Whore-S. Lambert and company, they say no, they have no interest, and they pretty much say you can kiss that match goodbye as far as getting a TNT championship rematch. Tay tells Lambert he knows they've been living rent-free in Lambert's head, but if they only knew what Tay and he did while wearing that belt, they now live in Dan's mouth. So pulling a page there from Paige's sex tape, right? Nice little dig right there. Nice little segment for all intents and purposes. It was a nice little segment for what it was worth. Match 5, Leyla Hirsch taking on Red Velvet. Lowest point of the entire show, in all honesty. Could have done without it. And look, I love Red Velvet. Don't get me wrong. I love Red Velvet. Any longtime fan or lurker of the shows, y'all know I got nothing but love for Red Velvet. Y'all know how critical I've been of Leyla Hirsch. I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. Just not feeling it. It was decent, but definitely a very, very low point. Very low point. You could tell the crowd wasn't really into this either. When you're just looking at everything that had played out throughout the entire night, crowd didn't give two shits about this. Even when Chris Statlander came running down afterwards, fans didn't really give a damn about this. Leyla Hirsch doing the whole rinse and repeat once again, going under the ring, pulling out a metal piece from the turnbuckle, holding the ring. She pretty much has one piece in her back pocket. She's got another piece, and she's running into the ring. Like Shaka Zulu. Referee takes that piece, and as he's going to toss it outside the ring, she pretty much takes the other piece from her back pocket, clocks Red Velvet over the head with it, goes in for the cover. Referee, like Jerry Seinfeld, I don't know what to do. I don't know. You're down on the ground. I don't know why. I guess I should count. Should I count? I better count. Maybe I should count. Better count right now. Need to count. 1, 2, 3. Leyla Hirsch wins. Yeah, big yawn. Main event match, John Silver and Alex Reynolds taking on Jericho Appreciation Society, Chris Jericho, Daniel Garcia. About 10 minutes of a match. This pretty much was your main event match right here. John Silver, man, you got to give that little dude his props. Seriously, you have got to. Silver, I appreciate the fact that this man has rededicated himself, retransformed himself, taken his health, nutrition more seriously. And I just love the fact that he's an inspiration for short people, man. I say that with the most honest sincerity and respect. I'm not saying that as a diss. You know, he really fucking has rededicated himself, and I'm loving. I would say for the past 6 to 7 months, yeah, he's a guy that's been creeping up on me, and just okay, I'm coming around. Okay, all right, I'm liking this dude so much so that I'm trying to think if John Silver was on the Jericho cruise. I don't think he was. I think I would need to rely on you guys that were on the Jericho cruise. I don't quite remember John Silver on the cruise. I took so many pictures too. I would have remembered. So I'll have to rely on you guys, because if it turns out he actually was on the cruise, I'll have to go back and look at my pictures, because I must have taken about at least over. I've got at least about 50 videos total, like 10 seconds here, a minute here, 3 minutes here. And photos wise, I probably got like about 200 photos that I took. I can't recall if John Silver was on there. But I bring that up because if it was a case where Evil Uno, John Silver, give me John Silver. I'm walking up to John Silver. Seriously, I'm walking up to fucking John Silver. That dude is on a whole new other level. Truly, he is an underrated hand. And I was very proud to see him get his 15 minutes of fame, if you will. I was happy to see him get his moment in the sun, not just closing out an episode of Dynamite, but being able to dance with Chris Jericho. And mad fucking kudos to Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho could have easily just gone into this Let me tell you something, brother. The way this match needs to go down, I just gotta go in and just squash, you know, because I'm big, brother. You know, nah, Jericho went in there and he bust his fucking ass and making John Silver look like $1 million fucking dollars. He made John Silver look competitive. He made John Silver at times look as though he had Jericho's number. Not exaggerating. That's actually another match if you didn't see tonight, but maybe you got it on your DVR. Go back and check that bad boy out when you get a chance. Very proud, though. Final moments of this matchup when we came back from a commercial break. Jericho was in control, does a lion salt, but he misses it as Reynolds moved out of the way successfully. Reynolds reaches in for a tag, that white hot tag, that desperation tag. Boom, in comes John Silver. John Silver coming in with the big clotheslines. Flapjacks. Garcia enters. Silver sends him over the ropes, crashing real hard there. Silver whips into Jericho. Jericho's trying to do his best to hold on. Sends Silver to the apron. Right hand to Silver. Jericho now to the corner, but Silver connects with a kick. Moonsault connects to Garcia. Attacks Lee. Parker. Then you had a Hurricanrana to Jake Hager. Silver then goes to the top. Does a nice diving crossbody. 1-2. Kick out. Next thing you know, Jericho waits. Connects with a code breaker. Goes for the cover. 1-2. Talk about ultimately trying to make a dude look strong. John Silver kicks out of the code breaker. John Silver kicks out of the code breaker. Jericho is just beside himself, and he just loses it. He just starts beating up Reynolds. Badass. Oh, no. It was actually he starts beating up on Reynolds. It was Reynolds that Jericho was beating up on. Reynolds gets back in there. Kick turns into a German cover. 2 count. Hager on the apron. Silver hits him with a right. Matt 1. Parker gets another. Dive into Hager's arms on the outside. Sends Silver into the barricades. Garcia comes in with a cradle to Reynolds. High knee from Reynolds. Hits the ropes. Finally, Jericho just says, you know what, the hell with this. He grabs that trademark bat of his. And he pretty much, while the referee is distracted here, boom, hit in the back. Garcia sets up the referee for the distraction. Scorpion Deathlock turns into a knee bar as Reynolds taps out. So it was beautiful. It was beautifully laid out how they fucking did this match when it was all said and done. So good shit right there. Good shit right there. Overall, a relatively, other than one match I could have honestly done without, pretty good episode of Rampage. I definitely would give this episode a thumbs up. I'm thinking as far as that number scale go for this respected episode, I probably would give this maybe about a 7.5. I mean, because look, the show started off from the minute that it opened. It started off red hot, but then, it just degraded rather quickly. And the lowest point being when we got to the Leyla Hirsch Red Velvet match. But then we picked it up with such a great main event match. And not to also mention, for what it was worth, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, that was actually a pretty good match for what it was worth as well. So, interesting. It was pretty good episode, I personally felt. Hey, if you guys are with me so far, you've been enjoying yourselves, having a good time so far, and I know you guys are. Do me a huge favor. It only takes 2 seconds. Make sure you hit that like button. Really helps me out a ton, so do that. And feel free to subscribe as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe so you never miss out on future content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Were you guys aware, if you're following the YouTube channel at youtube.com/the RCWR show, you click on the bell notifications for all notifications. You'll know about any postings on the community board, So I'm always posting there. Usually, you'll know about any new premiere episodes. Earlier today, I had uploaded a episode of NWA Power. I reacted to this week's edition. It's an audio format. So true story. You know, anytime that you don't see my face, something weird must have happened. So when I was initially sitting down to record this week's Pure Power edition of NWA Power, that's what we call the series, in case you guys don't know. When you access the talk of NWA reaction shows in audio format, we put it under the name Pure Power. But when I sat down initially to record the show earlier today, I recorded the show earlier this morning. True story, I'm doing my thing. Webcam, everything is opened up. Next thing I know, because the show went about 43 minutes. Next thing I know, I'm at about the 40-minute mark. And for whatever respective reason, I just look in the lower right-hand corner and pretty much where my recording option is, controls, stop streaming, start recording. I got all those options. And I see that the start recording button was not hit. However, my mixer recorded the audio. So at this point, I'm realizing what's happening here. And I was about to stop and just, wait, what? But then I'm going, okay, do I really want to do this all over again? Or, look, we recorded the audio. Let's just go with the audio for this week. So that's why you guys only see the audio version. So FYI, I just had to share that with you guys because I know some of you guys, you're used to seeing the face and all that. But that's what was going on there. We also got Wild Women of Wrestling. We're going to be talking about episode 29 this Thursday, 9:45 p.m. Eastern. You can catch that exclusively on YouTube. There's a whole lot of content that we got available for you guys to check out right now. So make sure you're showing all that content love and you're checking it out and all that. So look, we got a couple of other little tidbits we can dive into before we get ready to wrap it up for the night. At this point, look, came across some interesting Tony Khan news. Tony Khan, and you kind of got to respect the guy for this, but he pretty much said, look, other than this Ring of Honor Supercard, which prior to purchasing Ring of Honor, he's going to go on ahead and honor it because he wasn't trying to have fans be disheartened and disappointed and all that with the cancellation. But he pretty much said, look, as long as I'm doing my thing, we're not going to be doing anything on WrestleMania weekend. We're just not. And I got to respect the hell out of that because it's so interesting because you all know the MO by now. When it's WrestleMania weekend, not everybody is able to afford WrestleMania. Not everybody's able to, even with the prices where they are right now for this year's WrestleMania. Look, some people say, oh man, them prices. Yeah, when you're looking at gas prices right now, for sure. And you're looking at how much groceries are now. Oh my God. I look, don't even get me started on groceries. Wifey went grocery shopping yesterday. And I said to her yesterday, I said, hey, you shopped on a full stomach, right? Before you went grocery shopping. Because normally when she doesn't shop on a full stomach, like if she doesn't make a pit stop, eat something, then go grocery shopping, she'll let her eyes do all the walking for her there. And, next thing you know, cart's loaded up. She goes, no. I say, damn it, baby. I'm like, you know better. She's like, oh, I didn't have time. I said, but the Subway restaurant was right there next to the grocery store. It's like, just do that next time. Just go grab yourself a 6-inch sub, grab a drink, grab some chips, then, walk it off while you go grocery shopping. She's like, that's a good idea. I'm like, yeah. So I said to her, tell me the groceries wasn't $300. Because she told me, she's like, you would not be happy if you knew how much the groceries were. I said, tell me it's not $300. She says, no. not $300. I'm like, okay, tell me the groceries was not $250. And she's like, no comment. So, right, you got the gas prices, you've got the food expenses, right? There's a lot that people, right? So to be in a position WrestleMania weekend where you can do something that's more affordable because you got different vendors, different wrestling promotions that are all taking advantage of that WrestleMania weekend. And it's a great way to spread more brand awareness for your respective product and all that, right? It's all about generating new leads. It's all about expanding your base. It's all about growing your audience. It's all about growing your clientele, expanding it when it's all said and done. So that's why every single time you see these WrestleMania weekends and you see all these cool little things that's happening in that city, in that state where Mania is coming to, that's why you see so many promoters and events that are all capitalizing off of it and everything. But for Tony Khan to say, nah, we're going to continue to not do anything on WrestleMania weekend, you just hear that and you just go, dude, that's balls. Now, let's be specific. I think if he could have it his way, he's going to try to make sure that Ring of Honor doesn't follow suit as well. But he pretty much said AEW will never run during WrestleMania weekend. I have the direct quote right here. Here's what he said here. I only know one way to do pay-per-view, and it's going 100% and doing the best you can. I promise to make that pay-per-view great. Of course, he's talking about the ROH Supercard. I know there are a lot of people who are going to be around the Dallas Metroplex area at that time. This is my first time going out there for that particular event weekend. It's not something I normally would do. It's not normally something AEW would do. It's not something AEW would ever do, and we're not doing it. The event had been scheduled in advance. You pretty much already know about that. I felt the right thing to do. Fans, right? Blah, 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 right? I possibly could, even though it's unusual for us to go into enemy territory and run a show that weekend. It's normally something associated with smaller wrestling company. Here. Let's back up. Back up. It's normally something associated with smaller wrestling companies and something I didn't want to do. Since it was booked and the fans are committed to it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go in 100% and make it the best show I possibly can. I never expected to be talking about WrestleMania weekend and the logistics of the shows there. So look, at least we understand where Tony Khan is coming from, right? And he is absolutely right. I don't look at that as a dig on any wrestling promotions, but he is absolutely right. Usually it is the smaller wrestling promotions. You might have wrestling promotions that maybe you've never heard of before. That's piggybacking off of WrestleMania weekend and everything. So you also got the con events as well. I'm not talking about that KHAN. I'm talking about the WrestleCon events, WrestleK, all them guys that like to capitalize. Who's the guys that were supposed to do something last year? Oh, I can't think of their name right now, but it was something that was supposed to be going down in Florida last year or the year before, and it got canceled. Some of my podcasting friends were actually supposed to do it, but it ultimately got canceled because the pandemic numbers was just too freaking crazy there. By the way, that Super Card of Honor card, that bad boy is looking pretty good. We'll go more into that card for next week. We'll talk a lot more about that next week. But I if they're gonna air that on pay-per-view, I'm letting you guys know right now, I will definitely check that out just to see what's up. But I respect the hell out of Tony Khan for doing that. Because number one, okay, I got this ROH commitment, dates already set in motion. Fans have already coughed up their money. What the hell? Let's go ahead. Let's do this. And then number 2, yo, he ain't trying to piggyback off of some other promotion because they're doing their thing in that city. And so he's got to, you know, like you're desperate, you know, you got to, nah. I mean, look, even though it's, you know, there's no shame in it because you understand why a lot of these promotions and vendors are doing what they're doing because you've got people that are traveling from all around the world and they're looking for cool shit to do. Okay? You will have people that can either, okay, all I can afford is go to the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm not going to be able to go to WrestleMania. Okay, well, they're still going to be in town for maybe those couple of days. And if you got some type of a cool event that's happening, they could be at their hotel. They could go do the Hall of Fame and then go do that small little indie event. And then once they're done with all of that, maybe they'll watch WrestleMania from the comfort of their hotel room and then check out the next day and everything. Hopefully you got good Wi-Fi at that hotel you're at. Or maybe they're only able to go to one of the nights of Mania and same things factored in, right? So, but for Tony Khan to say, nah, man, I'm not gonna piggyback off of WrestleMania weekend, man. I'm not doing that. I respect that. I fucking respect the hell out of that. So kudos to him. Kudos to him. By the way, AEW Dark. I am seeing the results for this week's AEW Dark. I want to share with you guys what's going on with that. So this week's AEW Dark card, Blake Christian defeated Rahit Raju. Abaddon got a victory over Angelica Risk. AQA got a victory over Valentina Rossi. Anthony Ogogo beat Ray Jazz. Gun Club went over Brick City Boys. Jay Lethal defeated JD Drake. Marina Shafir got a dub over Layla Gray. Butcher and Blade beat up Captain Sean Dean and Carly Bravo. Varsity Blondes got a win over Sotheria Chun and Tony Vincita. Nyla Rose, meanwhile, got a win over Casey Lennox. Speaking of Nyla Rose, we were just talking about, God, I don't know if it was on Monday's show, but I remember at some point, we're like, where's the Nyla Rose? Where's this person? Where's that person? Where's Sunny Kiss? And Nyla Rose appeared on tonight's Dynamite. She pretty much had interrupted Thunder Rosa's speech. Now that she's the new AEW Women's Champion, Vicky Guerrero pretty much had set up the distraction going out there, distracting the hell out of Thunder Rosa, stopping Thunder Rosa from literally getting the word in. Nyla Rose attacking Thunder Rosa from behind. Boom, there's your instant Acme feud. They're going to be having a match, I think, on this week's Rampage. If you bear with me a second, because I actually did take notes about what's going on with Rampage this week and for Dynamite next week. I'll get to it in a hot second. But Nyla Rose, she got a victory over Casey Lennox on AEW Dark this week. Mercedes Martinez got a win over Gemma Jules. Powerhouse Hobbs got a win over Fuego del Sol. The Acclaimed defeated Liam Gray and Adrian Alanis. And Tony Nese got a win over Karam. Now, as far as this Friday's AEW Rampage, first of all, make sure your DVRs and all that is ready to go. Rampage is back at its usual time of 10 p.m. Eastern this Friday. I am excited because I got to tell you, when me and the guys over at 411, along with our great community over there, when we were waiting patiently for Rampage to come on, we're going, okay, how much longer of this college basketball bullshit? I mean, it was damn near midnight by the time Rampage came on. And a lot of us were very tired. A lot of us were just ready to just roll over, go to bed already. I, for one, let me tell you, I've had some worse nights of trying to get sleep that was by far the worst night I ever had in trying to get sleep, especially when you have a young puppy, when you have a almost 4-month-old puppy. That's pretty much keeping you up at night. You know, she's not being a nuisance or anything like that. You know, she has a hard time. She's a puppy. She has a hard time winding down. She wants to play, and you know, she doesn't realize quite, you know, oh, okay, I gotta, you know, it's sleepy time. Oh, okay. And then to do a short turnaround, you know, after already working my night gig, to have to do a short turnaround for the same job, but come early in the morning. And Rampage wasn't done until like 12:30 in the morning. But then I got to proofread my shit, and I got to do a mock-up of a review, so I'm not done until 12:45-ish, 12:50. Now I can take my melatonin. I didn't go to bed last Friday. I didn't go to bed until a little after 3 in the morning, and I had to get up at 8. I had to get up at 8. Yeah, it was not good for me. I was not feeling that whatsoever. So I am happy that Rampage is back at its regular time slot. Because for me, that I love that 10 o'clock time slot. I know a lot of people are going, oh, Rampage needs to extend. Rampage needs to extend. Nah, man, when you get those poor type of numbers that Rampage got, Rampage did 398,000 viewers coming on at almost midnight last week. And y'all talking about Rampage should be extended to 2 hours. No. First things first. Let's see how Rampage does in this respected time slot. Let's see the consistency in the numbers there. And then, okay, if we're going to play around and we're going to maybe try something as far as extending the time slot, okay, let's do maybe, you know, 2 specials a quarter and see what happens if it's 10 to midnight. Let's see what happens with that. You know, see how much carries over, you know, in those quarterly segments there during those 2-hour blocks, and then, you know, kind of judge from there. Yeah, that's how you got to do it. You can't just flip on a switch and go, it should be 2 hours. No. No, you shouldn't do it like that. No. But yeah, I love it when it's at 10 o'clock, because when it's at 10 o'clock, that's easy for me. That is super easy for me. That's pretty much, okay, by 11 o'clock, I'm done. I'm already beginning to put the review together. 11:15, I'm done. I can enjoy the late night news, take my melatonin. I'm in bed by 12:30, calling it a night. I love it. Rampage for this Friday. Dustin Rhodes taking on Lance Archer. Allen 5 Angels and 10 of Dark Order. They team up to face Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly of Red Dragon. Nyla Rose will be in action. Yeah, when I saw this go down, they didn't announce that she was going to be in action against Thunder Rosa. If I missed that, please let me know either while I'm still live or just leave a comment. But the way they dubbed it, Nyla Rose is going to be in action. Also, Hook will be getting his QT Marshall Certificate of Participation Award or whatever. That should be an interesting segment. Swerve Strickland will face Ricky Starks one-on-one for the FTW Championship. That's what's all going down on this Friday's Rampage. Meanwhile, next week's Dynamite. Here's a preview so far for next week's Dynamite. We've got Darby Allin taking on Andrade and FTR going up against Gun Club. That's all we got for right now. By the way, the AEW awards winners have been revealed. Here's your categories. Biggest surprise. Here's your winners. Categories and winners. Biggest surprise, Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson's debut. I won't dispute that. Would you? I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. Best moment on the mic, CM Punk returns. I don't have a problem with that. You guys? I don't have a problem with that. Biggest what the fuck moment, New York street fight. Or is that New England street fight? Because I got NYE. Is that New England street fight? No, New England is just NE. So no, I think I read it right. New York street fight. Yeah, whatever, dude. Biggest beatdown. Heyman Page goes 60 with Bryan Danielson. I'm okay with that. Best Twitter follow, Nyla Rose. Really? Really? We're talking for AEW talents. We're going with Nyla Rose. Personally, I think Jade Cargill should have won that. Jade Cargill does a phenomenal job in posting all kinds of not only nice pictures from photo shoots that she's doing. She stay busting fans' balls that don't want to act right. You know, they want to get downright stupid with her. She could come at you with lighthearted jokes. She can blaze your ass up. She can give you some food for thought. She'll also say something that, you know, it may not be popular, but it may wall up some people, but it gets people talking. Nyla Rose? Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Prove me wrong otherwise. I'll have to ask you guys, as far as best Twitter follow, is Nyla Rose really deserving of that category? I know there was a good minute there. Matter of fact, let me even see if I'm still following her. There was a good minute there where I actually did follow her. I did follow her because I noticed that she was from the DC area. She was from the DC area, and for a good minute, I did follow her, and yeah, I'm looking at her Twitter feed right now, and yeah, no, I kind of would have to go with Jade Cargill on that one, respectfully. So you guys sound off on that. Let me know if you think they got it right on that one. Best high flyer, Dante Martin. Best high flyer. I don't agree with that category. I would have given that to Darby Allin, because Darby stayed doing crazy, stupid ass, high risk maneuver shit. I would have given that to Darby. Best AEW fashion moment. We really created this category? Okay. Dr. Britt Baker's DMD's Britsburg jacket. Best AEW fashion moment. Best AEW fashion moment. I guess. I mean, shit. It's hard for me to pull teeth thinking about the, right? It's like pulling teeth thinking about these best AEW fashion moments from over the year. Best tag team brawl, Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, steel cage match. That was an instant classic. No issue with that. Best mic duel, MJF and CM Punk on Thanksgiving Eve. No issue with that whatsoever. Breakout star male, Sammy Guevara. Okay. I'm all right with that. Breakout star female, Jade Cargill. I'm all right with that. Wrestler of the year, Kenny Omega. He was out for some months. No. That automatically should have gone to Bryan Danielson. Am I wrong? Sound off. But just if Kenny would have continued not missing a beat, sure. But he's been out for how long now? Nah, no. One other little tip of the news, we're talking about social media and all that. Paige, I can't believe she even had to explain herself here, but Paige had took to social media earlier tonight to basically react to fans commenting on her not returning, like Edge and Bryan Danielson. Because after all, these guys, despite what was going on with their spinal issues, neck issues, they were able to return. And this is what she said. She said, it's wild that some people are like, well, Edge and Bryan came back. You are just lazy. I'm inspired by them. I'm not lazy. My neck needs to recover. We are all built different. Sorry, fam. She shouldn't even have to apologize for all of a sudden some of these fans are doctors. All of a sudden they have medical degrees and well, because Edge and Danielson have returned and Paige, you haven't returned yet, you're being a lazy bum. Get off your fucking Twitch. Right? Think about that. Get off your fucking Twitch and get back to wrestling already. Wow. The toxicity that exists in social media. We've talked about this time and time again. That's why I don't approach social media like I used to. I will post my shit that I need to post for the shows. If I come across some really cool, low-key type people, ain't got to worry about them doing no stupid shit on social media. I'll interact with a couple of people. My DMs are now open, so, once in a blue moon, somebody may, hit me up, hey, Lee, I was checking, and I'll have little brief conversations, but other than that, I'm usually just posting shit about the shows, reacting to whatever's going on, you name the show, Raw or NXT or whatever, and I keep it moving along, man. I fucking keep it moving along. It's sad that she even took this time out to even, that's time she can't get back. That's 30 seconds or whatever that she's not going to get back. It's ludicrous that she even wasted her energy responding to ridiculous statements by some knuckleheads that, whatever. Paige, just keep doing you. Seriously, just keep doing you. Take care of yourself, mind, body, and soul. That comes before anything else, as far as I'm concerned. Now, look, if you got some fans, I can respect it if these are youngins. If these are youngins and you're going, these kids, they don't know no better, right? Okay. I'll cut some slack. But, you're in your 20s and up. I ain't got no mercy for your ass. Seriously, I ain't got no mercy for your ass whatsoever. No mercy for your ass. So let's close out on this note. Undertaker. Let's talk about Undertaker here, because this was kind of funny. So Undertaker had recently did an interview. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but you should definitely check it out when you guys get a chance. But in this interview, he pretty much had followed up on another interview in which comments he made about the current WWE roster, current era of WWE talent. He pretty much is still doubling down, saying that they're soft and everything. Now, context, because context is everything. All right? Context is everything. So we got to rewind this back. To what was the show that he did? Hang on here. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Give me a second. I think it was in this interview here. Nope, I don't have it. I don't have it. Hang on. We got to find this because this is very, very important. Okay, here we go. All right, yeah, because he previously had said the WWE superstars of the current era are not real men compared to the wrestlers back in his era. So for context, we got to rewind it back to January of 2021. And this stems from his appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, where he compared the WWE superstars when he used to work as a full-time competitor to the current superstars. He stated that he preferred wrestlers from his era while criticizing the current superstars. He said the superstars from his era were real men, unlike today's superstars who are playing video games and trying to look pretty. Here's a direct quote right here. In that era of guys, too, men were men. You go into a dressing room today, and it's a lot different. I remember walking into my first real dressing room. Half of them had knives and guns in their bags. Shit got handled then. Now you walk in, and there's guys playing video games. And I'm fucking sure, and I'm fucking... Oh, just the way I'm just picturing him in his voice when he's saying this. Forgive me. Now you walk in and there's guys playing video games and fucking making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just like those eras, man. I liked when men were men. Right? So that's the context from basically a year ago. Now, he pretty much doubled down on that in a recent podcast appearance. Shout out to True Giordi, where he said, and I quote, things have changed. I can't just say that it's changed in wrestling. In all sports, it's a different generation. Call it evolution if you want. One, I don't think the guys are leading the same lifestyles that guys in the past did. One, they can't because everything they do, there is somebody somewhere pulling out a cell phone. I feel bad for them because they can't go and blow off steam somewhere after they work because they are constantly under some type of surveillance. Where I didn't have to worry about that because there wasn't cell phones and all that. Now, let's pause right there. Let's pause right there and just break that down. He got no problem with what he's saying so far. He is absolutely right because that is the one thing that we've talked about off and on these past couple of years in regards to the digital turn, how we're going about our media consumption, but we've also talked about at great lengths how we go about accessing the technologies that's within our grasp. And Lord knows that just off of this pandemic alone, you all definitely know of somebody that's out there before the pandemic. I don't care about that whole Zoom, Skype, Google Hangout, YouTube, OBS. I don't care about all that. I'm good. But then when the pandemic went down and it was at its worst and people are trying to figure out ways to stay in contact with loved ones, friends, and all that, now all of a sudden that technology was starting to look really, 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 really good. So now you had people embracing the technology, and for better or worse, right? It depends. You could either make a pro argument that, hey, it's better, or it's gotten even worse because now even more people have become more reliant on their devices and all that. But to Undertaker's point, yeah, I mean, I remember not long ago in the 90s where, well, shit, I grew up in the 80s, so it depends on how far you really want to take it back. But I can remember coming from a day and age where, you know, you had to stick your finger in a little hole and you had to hold that, you know, okay, zzz, okay, that's my 8. Zzz, all right, I need the 5. Zzz, zzz, right? To go from that to going into a fucking flip phone. And the flip phone, you know, you're doing your thing. God, I don't think we were able to start doing text messages until what year, y'all? I don't think text messages was a thing until, God, what, maybe 94? Maybe 94? 95 was maybe text messages or something like that, that they were starting to roll that out. So, you know, it's interesting how you look at the technology today because, hell yeah, to the point. Anybody remember when John Cena was at a clothing store a couple of years back and all he was trying to do was shop in peace? And that fucking fool was just following him around the entire store. And John Cena wasn't trying to have any of it. And this dude was just so fucking pressed to get himself over because he's coming across John Cena and he's trying to make himself up to be something that, right, John Cena could really care less about whether it's true or not. Only thing John Cena knows, hey, I've asked this guy respectfully to stop freaking filming, and you know this dude was just trying to get his 5 minutes of fame. That basically is what it was all about. And I mean, you can't really go, motherfucker, I just told your bitch ass to get that fucking camera out of my face. I told you to leave me the fuck alone. You can't operate like that because these motherfuckers with these cell phones and these tablets, they can just edit it in such a way. I will give you a perfect example, and this isn't long-winded, but to follow up on what Taker is talking about here. I'll give you a perfect example. This is your homework if you want something to check out. Look up Roland Martin. Do a YouTube search. Type in Roland Martin rips Dan Abrams. Just type that up. If you had ever watched Live PD at some point, you know about Dan Abrams. But when you get a minute, just type that up. Okay? Out of context, context. Very important. Very important. And it ties in so perfectly to, you know, again, what Undertaker is talking about. Yeah, these men, these women, they are pretty much living these characters almost 24 fucking 7. They can't even go into a Whole Foods or a Chipotle in fucking peace without getting harassed. At this point, the only solitude that they really have is if they happen to be sharing a vehicle with a fellow coworker, or when they are behind closed doors in their hotel room and they can just, okay, I'm not this character anymore. I can just, right? So I got no problem with what he's saying right here so far. Let's keep going. Let's see. I feel bad for them because they can't go and blow off steam somewhere after they work because they are constantly under some type of surveillance, right? Where I didn't have to worry about that because there wasn't cell phones and all that. When I came up, the locker room was a lot different. It was pretty crusty. You drove everywhere. You didn't fly very often. There were a few guys that have knives in their bags, guns in their bags. It was a different group of men. Not saying one is better and one is worse, but they had a different way of settling things. All right, so he's kind of clarifying on what he had said there from Rogan. All right, he cleaned that up a little bit. Continues on saying if there was a disagreement, they go in the shower, and that's where everything got handled. You discussed it and came to an agreement, or you just threw down. Just like what happened to Bruiser Brody in Puerto Rico. He got stabbed and he died over a disagreement. That was common fare. Not to that degree, but there was a lot of that happened back in the day. late 80s and before. Those guys didn't put up with any kind of crap and weren't afraid to call somebody out. Today's athlete is just that. They are athletes. They've been trained to do this. I'm sure there are some, but I don't think they have the same bad habits that a lot of us had, which is a good thing. So he admits, right? Now he's had a little bit of time to reflect and how can I kind of clean this up to really make sure that I'm not trying to do a 180 on my previous responses, but make sure that, make no mistake about it, this is where I'm coming from. All right, again, no problem so far. Now let's go about that grit in today's WWE. I feel like there is a level of grit that is missing from today's product. I don't know that it's anybody's fault. We all aged out. The new group has come up. When you watch Brock wrestle, you're interested because you know he has the background as an amateur wrestler, professional wrestler, mixed martial artist. Brock doesn't do a bunch of crazy moves. He manhandles your ass. You get in there, get thrown around, and get smashed. Roman Reigns has a little bit of that to him. When he wants to, Randy Orton has a bit of that to him. A lot of the younger talent, it's the evolution, that comic book era, the superhero era. That's their motivation and inspiration. They didn't have to come up and bust heads in bars and figure out how they're going to eat. Good or bad, it is what it is. So they're lacking grit as far as he's concerned. I get where he's coming from, and kind of in a way he is kind of saying, they're soft, right? But if you really take a step back and you really think about it, a lot of these men and women that decided to be professional wrestlers, they grew up on guys like Undertaker, the Stone Colds, the CM Punks, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons, the Triple H's, the Chris Jerichos, the Luna Vachons, the Trish Stratuses, the Litas, and the Chynas. And I'm not at a loss for words, but these men and women that grew up on all of those names that I just mentioned, depending on when some of these people got involved in the business, not for nothing, but a lot of these men and women, they're still going around and they're still respectfully paying their dues. How many times have we been on this show over the years, and whenever there's been a particular wrestler that's new to the scene, I've always educated myself and educated you all, and we go over the 411 about what this wrestler is about. What were they doing before we, saw them in this promotion? We're now seeing them in on a regular basis. I mean, a most recent example, Nikita Lyons, Faith the Lioness. When you get ready to check out Wow Women of Wrestling for this Thursday, we're going to be talking about the return of Spike, otherwise known as Hudson Envy, who has been around since 2012. Look, a lot of these men and women have respectfully paid their dues. A lot of these men and women on the independents, they have gone in there and they have paid their dues. They know what it's like to basically, all right, I'm putting my all into this. I don't exactly know if I'm truly going to be able to make a full-time career out of this, but this is something that I'm passionate about in pursuing. And, look, if it means I got to have some type of side gig in the process and be doing my things, driving hours on the weekends to go to this show to wrestle or get my training in, then so be it. A lot of the men and women are still doing that. I know guys like AJ Styles was doing that. Guys like Samoa Joe was doing that. Guys like Cesaro was doing that. Not for nothing, but Undertaker has been in the bubble of the WWE for so many years. What I've yet to hear, anybody that has had an opportunity to sit down and interview The Undertaker, what I've yet to hear from these people that, I mean, look, that's great that you got Undertaker on your show. That's great. But I have yet to hear someone that is truly, knows about their wrestling and all that. So look, you've been in WWE for all this time, but just to see what's going on with the competition, over the years, did you keep tabs on what was going on in TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan? And if so, what did you think about some of the things that was going on over there, right? I would like to legitimately know what his answer to that would be and what names he was paying attention to and everything, right? The other thing, let's take some self-accountability here, because, what we're really kind of pinpointing on right here is the current WWE product. And when you're really breaking it down and you're really focusing in on the current WWE product, we got to remember, gone are the Keith Lees. To the Undertaker's point about, hey, guys, grit. Okay, you got rid of guys like Cesaro. Cesaro had that grit. Karrion Kross, Killer Kross. My man had grit. Samoa Joe. My man had mad grit. Okay? Those are just some examples. Now we're focusing so much on, you've heard the new agenda. Oh, let's not go for these indie darlings. Let's not go for these people that's on the free agency scene. Let's instead go for people that don't know diddly jack shit about wrestling, and we can pretty much bring them in. We can mold them, and I would like to hear somebody interview Undertaker and say, don't you think that philosophy and the way that WWE is going about trying to have fresh talent, don't you think that's, contributing largely to the overall problem that WWE continues to have, which is basically for every 200 to 300 people you bring in over a 4-year period, only about 5 of them, if you're lucky, will maybe be truly successful on the main event scene? Something to seriously think about. Seriously. I mean, am I making sense here? Am I making sense here? Those are the questions that need to be tackled. And see, sadly, those questions are not going to be brought up because, we're going to keep getting these kind of footsie-like type of questions because nobody really wants to rock the boat too much because they fear that if they do, they sadly aren't going to get another opportunity to interview another WWE star because, when you get access to a guy such as Undertaker and all that, that's going to open up some doors for you. That's definitely going to open up some doors for you. I don't look at the current WWE product for everything that Taker is saying. And, no, for me, the biggest issue that I see with WWE, there is a lack of creative freedom. There is a lack of fun and exploration. You understand where I'm coming from? See what happens. See what sticks. That's missing. That is missing. I don't necessarily agree with some of what he's saying because I look at guys. He might be at the tail end of his career. He may be a little bit older, but I look at guys such as Bobby Lashley. I look at guys such as Matt Riddle. Let's not forget Matt Riddle has a background in MMA, and at a switch, if WWE ever decided, now we need this guy to go into more serious, I'm gonna kick your ass approach, they can always flip that switch with him. They can always do that. I don't have a problem hearing that a lot of these guys are kicking back, reading comic books, doing the whole video game thing. I don't have a problem. Somebody that's a gamer and into the comics myself, I don't have a problem. Look, as I always will tell somebody, if it means, sometimes, true story, sometimes I will buy so many comic books that my wife will be like, you got enough comic books? Good God, can you stop for a little bit? And I'll say to her, hey, if it means it'll keep me out of trouble, going to maybe a strip bar or, doing some stupid shit, hey, I'm good. I'm good. This ain't bothering nobody. So if all these guys, if all they're doing is playing the video games and all that shit, like, look, you should be saying to yourself and patting yourself on the back for the fact that you pretty much laid down the foundation so that these men and women are able to do stuff like that. Because, yeah, when you were coming up, it was real hard. It was real hard. But because of the work, the dedication, the time, the effort that you put in there, ultimately you had paved the way in helping others be able to eat and a easier road. They had an easier path than the path which you had took initially. That's how I would kind of look at it. And then something else I would follow up on, these interviews so far, hey, the rumblings are that Paul Levesque, Triple H, has said whenever you're ready, you can come on down to the Performance Center and, there's a job waiting for you. So, given how you feel, are you going to take up Paul Levesque and WWE on that offer? And if so, when are we perhaps going to hear about you starting to work down there so that you can pass on these important lessons to the upcoming generations? Be the new Dusty Rhodes, if you will. Why am I the only one that's thinking this way and saying this out loud? Seriously. Anyway, marinate on that, folks. So check out the interview, though. Check out the interview, though, if you haven't already. Check it out. It's actually pretty good for what it's worth, but, just keep what I'm saying to you guys in mind. So as far as programming notes go, Thursday, March 24th, 2022, 9:45 p.m. Eastern, we got a new Wild Women of Wrestling Reaction Edition episode. We're going to be tackling episode 29, and at that point, that's going to be it, as we're going to be down to our final 3 Wild Lost episodes. So make sure you represent. Check that out this Thursday. I'm supposed to be sitting down with the wifey and doing something for Patreon this weekend. I have been on a little bit of a slacking mode, but I've been getting back into uploading content on Patreon. So you might be interested. Want to check out some bonus content, some ad-free stuff, exclusive content. Check out patreon.com/RCWR show. By the way, if you haven't done so already, one more time, be kind and hit that like button. Only takes 2 seconds. And you help us out a ton. Shout out to those of you that have subscribed recently. Appreciate you guys big time. And for those of you that aren't going to be checking out the Wild Joint and won't be with us for our Patreon content this weekend, your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you all on Monday, March 28th, Wrestlemania week. Very excited. Looking forward to it. Should be a very fun and interesting week. I tell you what, should be a very fun and interesting week. If you're going to be waiting on the audio version of this, you guys got to forgive me. I'm going to be taking it easy for the rest of the night, and I will actually upload this episode instead sometime Thursday night for you guys to access for on demand and on the downloads. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR show. And until next go round, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care.